Hello and welcome, Speed Gaming fans, to a daily race today. We got ourselves a good one here. It's going to be the Tournament Inverted Keys, a mode that I think is very enjoyable and very aggravating to some. I am Mr. Ed3, and joining me today is Lana Bean. Lana, how are you today?
I'm doing fantastic. Thank you. How are you doing?
I've been excited for this day to watch some inverted action here. So we have ourselves a Tournament Inverted Key Sanity with the luxury of a starting flute. Something that I rarely have in inverted, so I'm very jealous of these runners, and we're already off.
$50, not a bad start.
Money's no good thing here as we take different routes here. So today's runners, we have ourselves Dr. Earworm and Scupula. Scupula is starting from the Dark Chapel and working north. Dr. Earworm's going to pay a visit over here to Stumpy.
We also have our fantastic trackers, of course, Lady Laurelinda and Aku Haish handling the click on all the buttons, very important.
Yeah, especially in a Key Sanity environment, things can get a little out of control here. So, and Scupula taking full advantage of the activated flute, fluting to his house to see what we have, and he will get his $50.
I believe Dr. Earworm picked up a castle tower key at Stumpy as well, and we're going to get some arrows.
One of my favorite mini games in here. Obviously, there aren't too many of them, but anytime we get a chance for the arrow game to get some extra rupees, always a nice thing. As we get a hype cave check, and we get a hammer on Scupula's side. Quake, heart container, a glove, and 10 arrows. I'd say that was pretty hype.
That is a solid 7 out of 10 hype. I'd say 8 out of 10 to begin the seed. That's actually pretty darn good. Dr. Earworm, though, not going for the X99 Dream.
As we're going to get, looks like a dig game here from Dr. Earworm.
And a Meyer area check from Scupula. And we have Quake as entrance to Meyer today. And Scupula quickly remembers that you may need maps to actually find out what dungeons are, whether they're crystals or pendants.
The joys of Key Sanity.
Yes, indeed.
As we just get a lonely little compass that Dr. Earworm says, nah, I want no part of that.
Not much going on at Meyer Shed either. Sorry for the interruption.
That's quite alright. No worries on my end. As Dr. Earworm also, too, is going to be taking a look at the Meyer area. So with that early castle tower key, the alarms are already lighting off as far as to say AGA might be required for Light World access, especially with the amount of checks that we have available in the Dark World. It's not so much as you do in a regular open environment in the Light World. So we'll see how this progresses.
And I do like Scupula's play, the early check with Catfish. A lot of people hold off on this check, but it has just as good of a chance of having something useful as anything else. And Hype Cave gave you 2 ways to check it. And Turtle Rock. Okay, Turtle Rock small key for Scupula, and Dr. Earworm gets a... I think I saw another small key for Pod off of Chess Game.
Yes, it was. A Palace of Darkness key as he makes his way into Thieves Town. We have 4 available checks here. See if we get anything good. We get the flippers. That's a solid start.
Now that is access to... well, nothing really much in inverted, honestly. Since we already had the flute, we could flute over to Pod.
Yeah, the only thing that would be possible is an Ice Palace dive, but unfortunately neither of our runners have a fire rod, so they couldn't even get through the first room.
Very true. We did see Scupula pick up a Desert Palace key as well. I believe it was C-shaped house.
That is correct. Every time I see a small key picked up from one of the runners, I'm just waiting for that second castle tower key.
Yes, indeed. This is like the inverted in general gives a pretty decent chance of having an Agassiz. Oh, poor Doctor Earworm, dying. I think just in front of Thieves Town. Oh, just in the beginning. Oh, it
Yep,
was a Death Warp.
just
My
Death
bad.
Warp. Yep, that's quite alright. He's gonna get his Desert Big from the C-shaped house.
Oh, and from our tracker, it was pointed out that there is a hook shot on Bumper Ledge.
Oh, that cape is gonna be buried probably somewhere, but also worth noting the fact that the only way to be able to get to Bumper Ledge and inverted is to be able to go through that entrance, but in the light world,
And then
then
Mirror, I
mirror.
think, right?
That is correct. Yep. The fun little intricacies of inverted. That's probably why I like it so much, and I really enjoy watching it.
Dr. Earworm getting chased by a thief. And we're getting Dr. Earworm going up into Skull Woods. A few easy checks that are completely in logic.
Yeah, Skull Woods getting it through this area with no weapon, especially considering that Dr. Earworm is yet to go into Hype Cave, does not have a hammer, so this would be a little tricky, but let's see if he gets through it.
Apparently, Skull Woods is a pendant.
Yes. Unfortunately, we don't know if it's a green pendant yet. He might give us a map check. Too early for that.
Oh, it is. You were right.
It was perfect time for a map check.
Okay, so first known dungeon of the game is a likely optional one, but it may have progression. We'll see.
Gukula navigating the mountain climb without the lamp very successfully to save the old man. This one check as of right now is out of logic. However, when he does go into the light world, inside Spectacle Rock would be in logic due to that flute.
And Dr. Earworm expertly navigating that room. It is very dangerous. With green armor and 3 health, you will die in 2 hits. Oh, gosh. And Ice Rod in Big Key Chest in Skull Woods. That's interesting.
You mean to tell me that we're going to have a seed where there's no Ice Rod hunt? Stop it. Our runners are already spoiled.
Well, you know what an early Ice Rod means, though. It just means Turtle Rock's going to be another pendant.
That too is very true. Old man just giving us 20 bucks as Scupula is going to take a look inside Spectacle Rock. I believe on top of Spectacle Rock was just another big 20.
That is a pretty cool looking bunny sprite from Scupula, though. And Dr. Earworm is farming some bombs. A very quick thing to do in Skullwoods.
Scupula doing the nice thing, just not going to even bother checking what the item is, just going to make a rush for it, see if it's anything he wants, and today it is a full heart container.
Why not? It's a hard seed. Going to be limited in the amount of hearts you can get, so may as well pick up the full heart containers when you can.
Scupula fluting to 3.
Oh. Go for it.
No, I missed it. What did Dr. Earworm get? Oh yeah, the moon pearl.
We got
There
a
we
bowling
go.
ball. Yeah, we found a bowling ball there. Oh, and another full heart.
All right, so between both of our runners, we actually will have Light World access. Scoopula just has to make his way over to Skull Woods. Dr. Earworm has to just make it over to Hype Cave, where he'll have both the hammer and the glove. And with him just right there, he has the option right there just to enter the Light World.
And routing the light world in an inverted is a little harder, a little slower, unless you got some boots, because you pretty much can't save and quit to any of those easy points. So until you get boots or, I don't know, something, that light world navigation is going to be a little bit slow.
Yeah, I could not agree more. My experience, at least with inverted, is once you hit to the light world, do everything that you possibly can, because it could be a little pain in the butt getting through. I always prefer having the mirror as fast as possible to make things easier. We'll see if our runners will be fortunate enough to get that soon.
Dr. Earworm's given us our first light world check here. We're going to start with, looks like the dam. And Scoopula going into Aga Tower with that one small key. Oh no,
Actually,
Zero. He doesn't have
he
one.
does not have one. Not sure if it was a small key that was on Stumpy, but
Was it Castle Tower? Was it Castle Tower or was it, gosh, was it Hyrule Castle? Can't remember.
and Hera was all hyped up for a possible Aga play into the Light World. Still
Womp
might be
womp.
necessary. Still might be necessary. We don't know what's on Lumberjack, though.
Very true. Oh, and Scoopula going to East Dark Death Mountain. This is going to be an interesting trek. Those Lionels mean business.
They certainly do. And we're getting a clarification. Stumpy ended up having Tower of Hera's small key on Stumpy.
Oh.
Thank you very much, chat. Appreciate it. Thank you for making us look smart when I look dumb.
Sometimes watching two people is a hard thing. Okay, Dr. Earworm going for the safe strategies against these Moldorms. I respect that because that hammer is a very risky thing.
Ooh, the TR big key. Canis Samaria and a single rupee. As Scoopy also checked Super Bunny Cave, unfortunately nothing much was there. And he missed the duck. Something I do very often.
Okay, so Scoopula needs to go to Skull Woods to get that Moon Pearl to get progression, but they're going to check out what is in Pod, perhaps. Well, no, they don't have the money, so going to go to the pyramid.
Just always difficult when you get the early game in inverted. You want to try to optimize decisions as best as possible. Scoopula kind of going with the strategy of holding off onto Skullwoods for the time being, considering the fact that also our runners don't have a small key, so kind of navigating it, you end up having to steal one from the vanilla big key chest area. As Dr. Earworm finds another heart container, always a good thing to have some early health.
Not just any heart container, that was the Sanctuary heart. And also farming some rupees. And Scoopula making the right call, going to Skull Woods. They'll have Dark World access momentarily. And Dr. Earworm having that tough task of deciding where to go first in Light World. Many people's first choice when going into Light World, whether it is inverted or regular, is to go to Kakariko for the sheer number of checks, but Dr. Earworm is holding off on that.
We got a small key on Lake Hylia Island. This is another one to pod. The one nice thing about having Light World access through the mode of a Power Glove and a Hammer is you have multiple options as far as how you could get into the Light World. You can go just south of the house. You can go to basically Vanilla number 5 with the flute just south of Eastern Palace and Pod. Or you can go through the top of Village of Outcast and go through CAC. So there's definitely options that our runners have. When it comes to just having mitts without the hammer, you're basically isolated to just one location, that being north of Village of Outcast.
And Scoopula taking an unfortunate death trying to get around a couple of zombies.
Yeah, they are not playing nice for him today.
They are not. Having 5 hearts, you can still get taken out in 3 hits.
Just 2 20s in Waterfall Fairy and a nice message saying, hey, you don't even have a bottle there, buddy.
The scary part is, with that Turtle Rock Small, they just, well, they're not too far away from being able to fight Trinex, honestly. A Fire Rod, TR Big. That could be interesting if they find that quickly.
Sounds like you're looking for pain and suffering for our runners.
I'm looking for some challenge. We'll just say challenge.
I think our runners are willing to accept your challenge, Lana Bean. Dr. Earworm is going to make a quick check over to Catfish to prevent it from being isolated, which I think is an excellent play. Because you don't really know when you're going to be back up to that area, because Dr. Earworm did not have enough rupees to check Zora. So Zora check might be isolated for a while, unless he gets really stumped and makes it sooner than normal. Goopla gets his Moon Pearl, Dr. Earworm gets his small key, and he's going to flute to 4 and head back to the Light World.
Looks like taking the same route as Scoopula so far.
Scoopula unfortunately took another death trying to get that one last check in, so yeah, that's the dangers as far as inverted. The Dark World enemies hit hard, and typically you don't have a whole lot of health to start, so it's always a tricky proposition.
True. At least they've got the advantage that, unlike a standard non-key sanity inverted, they don't have an often early task of having to fight something like Blind with 3 hearts and a hammer.
Oh, that's the dream. I love something like that.
Oh, absolutely, but it's definitely a challenge, especially with somebody that's not super familiar with low percent.
One of the benefits as far as inverted is concerned is some of these Light World checks that are locked behind a mirror in a normal mode are now conveniently open because you couldn't get there in any such way. So instead of having to mirror here, you just have a step ladder, and Dr. Earworm is able to check Graveyard Ledge for 100 rupees, which now conveniently he has Zora money.
Very true. Those changes had to be made into the game simply because you now mirror from the Light World to Dark World. So if they left that unchanged, they would no longer have access to the multiple locations. So some good changes had to be made.
Fortunately, Back of Escape not providing much for Dr. Earworm here, as he's going to go ahead and finish the rest of this escape sequence to get back into Sanctuary and continue his Light World checks.
And with this route, it looks like Dr. Earworm's pretty much going to head west right towards Kakariko. Oh, there's the... Oh, wow. Okay, cool. That's right.
Thanks, game.
Yeah. A little bit of a care package there.
So as Dr. Earworm starts to head west, looks like he's going to take a look into Lost Woods. Scupula is doing some of the flipper checks that that Dr. Earworm has already completed. It looks like he is going to go do Ice Rod Cave.
Good choice. Very isolated location, and you don't want to have to come back to this area more than one time, so stopping at Mini Moldorm is a risk. Like you said, routing once you get to the light world is very hard. You want to route in as much as you possibly can efficiently.
Especially considering this is a key sanity mode where, oh god, we got the mushroom, nice.
Oh lordy.
Especially considering we got ourselves a key sanity environment where all the small keys, big keys, maps, and compasses are shuffled. There's a lot more items that our runners will need in order to be able to progress the game and be able to complete certain dungeons. Now, I gotta ask you, Lana, if you were Dr. Earworm, you have the mushroom, you have the Canis Samaria, you're in Kakariko, would you decide to do a fake powder and check Magic Bat? Because you do have access to it with the hammer.
See, there's no harm in it. Magic Bat typically isn't very kind to me. Usually nothing much there, but you know what? You've got the opportunity, and you want to wipe out as much as you can without having to come back, so I say why not?
Absolutely, as we're going to get a red crystal check from the bomb shop, and I believe I saw Thieves Town and Turtle Rock are red crystals today, so even with that early Ice Rod, Lana, Turtle Rock is a crystal today.
Not only that, but a red one. And Turtle Rock, with Thieves Town, they're pretty close to being able to do both dungeons. They're missing a big key to Thieves Town, but other than that, they're basically just missing a fire rod. They've already got the Turtle Rock big key. I guess they need a mirror too, probably.
Yeah, the mirror is going to be the big thing. Mirror and mitts. Actually, I'm sorry. Yeah, mirror and mitts, because in order to get to the light world, you still have to have mitts on top of the portal from Turtle Rock, on top of the Turtle Rock, and then a hammer to get out of there, and then a mirror to go down to either Laser Bridge or the Turtle Rock west to east entrances.
In other words, they still got quite a bit left to find.
Oh, we're just barely scratching the surface here. I like it.
Ooh, half magic. Good find from Dr. Earworm. They also did find a Hyrule Castle small key, so that's now in logic. For Zelda Cell, at least. Another pod key.
Ooh. I love seeing pod keys. There are 6 of them out there.
Well, we're about to find out what logically came into their checks as soon as Scupula checks Zelda Cell. We'll see if they elect to try and check Dark Cross too.
Oh, and Dr. Earworm being my hero saying, you know what, Magic Bat? It could hold off for now. Seeing it's not in logic right now, but I do agree with you. If it's there, might as well check it, as we see a small key on the library. But it's not worth Dr. Earworm's time, and I like it.
It's a good move for sure. I mean, it's statistically it could have some sort of small key that could potentially make routing easier somewhere, but it's not necessarily a thing right now.
As we get a blind race game, we get a small key here as a prize. Today, it is another pod key. That's number 4, I believe.
Wow, they've got access to quite a bit of pod right now. Still missing a bow and a big key technically, but there's a lot of pod they can currently check. And 3 bombs. So that small key to Hyrule Castle, not going to be particularly useful to them.
Yeah, as we also get a K45 check from Dr. Earworm, just a compass. Another one of those checks that is typically locked behind the mirror, but an inverted. It is just open for you to take a look at.
And also a good point from one of our trackers, as soon as you get that half magic, do you really want to fake powder at that point?
Yeah, the only big thing that would be able to deplete all the magic is going to be the ice rod, and that'll even still take a little bit of time.
Yeah, well, plus it's a good weapon right now, so do you want to lose your weapon and potentially not be able to use it for a while? Hard to say.
Very true. And Scupula is going to try to navigate around Dark Cross with just the cane, since we still do not have the lamp.
And Dr. Earworm giving us a checkerboard check, which again is open up freely in Light World with inverted, and Meyer small key.
Also important to note with inverted, just going through the mirror checks, typically there's a couple ways to get into Desert Palace. In a normal mode, you could either have the book of Medora to be able to get in, and the flute with a mirror and the mitts, as Dr. Earworm picks up a cape from Agina.
Ooh, that is her hook shot. No, wait, we need a mirror.
It is. We still need the mirror, though, for that one, unfortunately. Yeah, in inverted, the only way to be able to access desert main entrance is through the Book of Medora, so that is going to be hard required, especially if it happens to be a crystal.
One of the other interesting parts about a regular inverted seed compared with this is that you may never find the flute, simply because you can mirror from light world to dark and get to the mayor area, but of course these all started with the flute to help navigation and make things a little faster.
Runners are spoiled. So Scupula is going to be checking K45 and more than likely heading up to Kakariko through the north, as Dr. Earworm is going to be doing Uncle and some of the Hyrule Castle stuff, so they're just going to be double backing on some of the checks. So in the meantime, figure get some of these runners, give Dr. Earworm and Scupula a follow. They are two very accomplished runners, very good in putting on a good show for us. Especially considering inverted is not exactly the easiest mode, with key sanity aspect always throws a little wrench into things, but these guys are providing a great show for you guys, so feel free to give them a follow. I know they'll very much appreciate it.
Here, here. Alright, Scupula about to pick up pod key number 37.
Doesn't matter how many pod keys that there are, I always want more. If I have 4, I want 5. If I have 5, I want 6. If I have 6, I kind of figure that there's going to be a 7th roaming around, but unfortunately there's only 6. And a big key, so I guess technically there are 7.
Now, one thing we didn't think about is that currently they did both find Bombos, which puts Ice Palace in logic.
It would be in logic. Unfortunately, we are still missing a sword, so Bombos will not work yet.
Oh, that's true. It's not actually swordless, so you've got a good point.
Imagine either of our runners finding a sword. I mean, they had a flute to start, so the swords are probably going to be buried.
In 30 minutes, there's plenty of time to find swords. Just hone in on your hammer strats.
So just kind of thinking what checks our runners would have left. I know Lana, you had mentioned pod with the 4 pod small keys. They have quite a bit of pod that they could look at. In addition, they do have Saha and the Eastern Palace area as well. Zora is in logic. Dr. Earworm having enough rupees. Scupula literally spending the last of his rupees to get a heart container from the bottle merchant. So we're kind of running out of checks for some progression here, just off the top of my head.
That sounds about right. I think they've checked a good portion of what they can otherwise. They've been pretty thorough. Looks like Scupula building up that rupee count again.
It can only go up from here.
Oh, good job from Dr. Earworm. I do it myself, but I don't see many other people actually use a Samaria block to help with navigation.
Sometimes I get too spoiled when you go into these dark rooms and you have a sword and you're able to see where you're going at with it. And when you don't have a sword, I'm telling you, he navigated that dark room extremely well. He did a fantastic job for only bombs, but at least it's one less check out of the way that he has to worry about.
And he didn't spend 30 seconds looking for that chest. Like you said, fantastic job just finding that chest.
And we're going to see where Dr. Earworm goes. He's fluting to 5.
Ew.
And he's going to head into the light world. No, he is not. He is going to go to pod by the looks of it.
Well, assuming he doesn't get hit and lose Kiki, still have enough money for Zora.
Now, pod is one of the more interesting dungeons when it comes to key sanity. There are 6 small keys out there, but depending on your routing and if you're able to do a couple things, you can literally make every check in Palace of Darkness with only just 4 small keys. There are certain logical restrictions as far as which item checks are locked by 0 small keys, 1 small key, 4 small keys, and 6 small keys. But who follows logic nowadays? I know I don't.
And we'll also take this chance to welcome in raiders from Speed Gaming 2. Welcome to the Speed Gaming Daily Link to the Past race. This is a tournament hard mode inverted key sanity race. 2 runners today featured are Dr. Earworm and Scupula. And my co-com, of course, is Mr. Ed.
And Scupula, even with that half magic, looks like he is going to be making that play that I talked about earlier as far as a fake powder. If you have the mushroom, the cane of Samaria, and a way to get to the magic bat, you can glitch the game a little bit just to be able to check the magic bat. The game thinks that you actually have powder, but in fact you don't. The magic bat comes out and gives you whatever prize he happens to have.
And Dr. Earworm finds a mirror on in pod. So that'll make routing dungeons a little bit easier.
Oh, the magic bat having a mail upgrade today, so not complete trash today. I'm very happy.
That's true. Tournament hard mode does allow blue mail, but they will not be finding red, I believe. It looks like Dr. Earworm pulling off another glitch in Palace of Darkness. It is the bottle glitch in Pod, misaligning the camera, allowing it to shift a little bit, and when you get those mimics off screen, the game thinks they're dead and opens up the doors.
Nice bit of game knowledge that Dr. Earworm displayed as he's going to make these checks here. These are technically logically locked behind the bow, as we have 10 arrows for the bow that eventually we would hopefully find, and a piece of heart.
And like we said just a moment ago, with that mirror, it's going to make pod routing a little bit easier for them.
Important to note that Dr. Earworm did open up the front door, so that'd be one small key. So in order for him to be able to check everything, would require one more trick, which is called the hammer jump, which is going to be on display possibly here. Oh, not yet. But we'll need a 5th pod small in order to make every check possible here. Technically, you need all 6. But again, our runners are good. They can get away without having all 6.
Sick pod keys. I mean, 6 is so overrated.
Dr. Earworm showing off more Canis Samaria strats to be able to navigate a little bit through the Dark U room here in Pod. Just $25 for his effort.
Looks like they're electing to check Harmless Hellway over checking the Vanilla Big Key chest. And finding Berna.
Looks like Dr. Earworm is contemplating if he wants to try to navigate around the dark maze here. And here's the hammer jump he's going to pull off. He has to line himself up in a specific pixel set both horizontally and vertically. When done right, you're able to skip through the rail and go into the dark maze.
Well done. And Scupula pulling off a Houlihan play, so getting some rupees.
Possibly thinking ahead to, oh, we got ourselves a small key to Thieves Town in the bottom's chest in Dark U.
A good find. Make sure that you don't have to worry about orphaning that big chest in Thieves Town. Always a pain in the neck to go back to.
Like Dr. Earworm's trying to use the Cane of Berna to be able to navigate. It might be a little lost.
Still, with that mirror, I imagine there'll be a Death Mountain trip in their future if they go up and get that hook shot pretty quick.
Absolutely.
Hey, Vanilla 3 bomb location in Pod.
Alright, Dr. Earworm is done with Pod, and he's going to be heading off to number 5 again. He's going to go into the Light World this time, possibly doing a Saha check, and may dip into Eastern, but if nothing else, we'll see what Saha has for us today. As Scupula's farming a few more rupees, possibly getting ready for Zora check if that all becomes necessary.
Oh, but do they farm that extra 110 for Pod? Pod will be a necessary play before too long, having that mirror for hookshot access.
Yeah, he left with exactly 500, so that'll be interesting when it comes to that point.
Well, now we're about to find out if we need that book or not. We do indeed.
Thanks, game. Appreciate it.
So that book can be in a lot of places right now. We'll see what ends up happening. Alright, hopefully all these pod keys will give Scupula a nice little hint that they'll be going there before too long.
Seems to me that our runners, even though we're only 40 minutes into this, aside from not having a sword, neither of our runners have actually found a lot of big keys. So it's kind of prioritizing a double dip in some of these dungeons. As much as you'd like to be able to clear out Eastern Palace and Pod and everything like that, unfortunately it's not permissible for our runners. One, because they don't necessarily have the items, but also, yeah, the lack of big keys. I think we only have a Desert Palace and a Turtle Rock so far.
Well, with that mirror, Turtle Rock is a little more accessible, especially with that Samaria, but logically you still need 4 smalls in Turtle Rock to go ahead and make everything in logic without the big key, of course, but still missing quite a few Turtle Rock smalls. So hard to say how quickly that play would be made.
Yeah, and just like in Palace of Darkness, where you can possibly make every check depending on what your navigation is with just 4 pod small keys, I believe off the top of my head, in inverted Turtle Rock, with there being 4 small keys out there, not counting the key drops that are in there, you can actually make all checks possible with just 2.
Ooh, I think Scupula almost bought a blue potion, just remembering that they have 500 rupees.
And Mushroom just having 3 bombs.
Well, they already fake powdered, so no point in hanging on to that mushroom. Well, I do hope that Zora ends up having some sort of money.
Yes, for Scupula's sake, absolutely. In the meantime, Dr. Earworm showing yet more Darkroom navigation, going through the one section of Eastern Palace to get to the Vanilla Big Key location. There are 40 rupees here in Waterfall Fairy, so it's a start. It's a slight replenishment. And we do have the Palace of Darkness Big Key. Interesting find in the Vanilla Big Key location for Eastern Palace.
Oddly enough, locked by a dark room. Logically. Well, we're about to find out what's on Zora. And we're about to find out what's in the big chest in Pod. If you missed that first hammer yump, we're about to get a second one.
I love seeing a good hammer yump.
I'm one of the only people I know that just does it bufferless. Oh, another mail upgrade. Cool. And my bad, red mail is available in this mode.
Yeah, just the tournament settings for inverted keys is it's still going to be normal item pool, as we just get 3 bombs in the big chest and Pod. But to my knowledge, it's just basically your normal inverted key sanity mode with normal item pool. So our runners will be able to have 20 hearts, red mail, gold sword, 4 bottles, all the fun luxuries that are possibly out there. With the only exception of our runners do start with an activated flute to be able to navigate around the dark world a little bit easier. An excellent navigation here. Dr. Earworm using the whirlpool is going to end up checking the mushroom here real quick. Finding out it's only 3 bombs, but it'll be one less check that he has to worry about.
Scupula getting some much needed money on Hobo, though.
It looks like Scupula is going to be making a Spike Cave check here with Cape and Half Magic. This is fully on logic. As a check, we'll see if there's anything good here.
Check often overlooked. I know I forget about this check if I get far enough into a seed.
And it looks like Dr. Earworm's going to end up making that Zora play just to be able to clean up this area so he doesn't have to worry about it. And he'll be getting his first mail upgrade as Scupula just finds a piece of heart and saves and quits out.
I do appreciate everybody is ignoring of the shields. I approve. Dr. Earworm, if you go for that shield, I'm going to be a little bit disappointed, just saying, but to each their own.
Yeah, the individuals who create the sprites, the custom sprites, do such a fantastic job. We don't want the shields to cover up their work.
Exactly! Okay, well done, Dr. Earworm. But do you go a step beyond? Do you intentionally let those shields get eaten if you find them?
I know you've taught me to.
Gotta appreciate that's hard sprite work that everyone goes through.
And as we see Dr. Earworm heading back into the light world, it's worth noting that Scupula is starting into the light world here. It's going to be checking Saha and more than likely Eastern, where we do know that the most beneficial play for him will be to go to Pod. The mirror in Pod is going to be very important for him, as Lana did mention. We'll be able to get our hook shot eventually.
And Dr. Earworm going for the single check that they can get in Swamp Palace. Interesting. I'm wondering if they either did not check Bumper Ledge or if they forgot about it.
Yeah, I believe Scupula was the only one that saw Bumper Ledge. I don't recall if Dr. Earworm did, mainly because he got his Moon Pearl from Skull Woods, and then figured what with the bombs that he got, he did Hype Cave, got his Dark World access, and never probably made it up there.
Well, I know he was at Graveyard Ledge. I believe he got that 100 rupees. But I guess he just must never have gone north from Outcasts. Okay, Scupula, pretty good routing here. He's going to find that Pod Big Key in that Vanilla Big Key chest, so more incentive to go in the Pod as soon as they get the money.
47 minutes into this seed and still no sword. Dr. Earworm's going to be taking a look here at Pyramid Ledge. I do not recall what was here. I don't believe it was much of anything. That'll be interesting to see where he ends up going from here.
And like you had pointed out a bit ago, not only are we swordless, we only technically have a couple of big keys. So I think Death Mountain's going to have quite a bit for us.
Yeah, it is definitely shaping up to be that way. With Scupula not having Light World access as quickly as Dr. Earworm, this would be good time for him to be able to catch up if Dr. Earworm does not check what's on Bumper Ledge, because with Scupula's information, he knows that the only thing locking behind that hook shot right now is going to be that mirror.
Yep. Dr. Earworm's on a bit of a clock when it comes to that. And Scupula does find that money they need for Pod. Well done.
Both runners showing great displays of darkroom navigation as Scupula is going to be making his way to the Vanilla Big Key location to pick up his Pod Big Key. Yeah, be curious where this lamp is at to kind of put some of this stuff into logic. It's probably, I would imagine, hopefully for our runners, it's buried somewhere into East Death Mountain.
Or well, it could be coming up. I mean, none of our lamp checks have gotten anything for us strictly except maybe a Pod Big Key. So through everything they've done, they know the hookshot is completely in logic with that early mirror and pod.
Scupula gets his Pod Big Key, saves and quits. Starts from the Dark Chapel and see where he heads off to.
Hopefully flutes over to 5 and heads north. But come to think of it, I think they're just about out of checks, so that's probably one of the only things they've got left.
Dr. Earworm, seeing that heart container inside Spectacle Rock, is going to turn it down. He's going to try to find a little bit of health, finds a nice fairy, and is going to head towards Super Bunny Cave.
Okay, this is kind of the turning point. Where does Dr. Earworm go from Super Bunny, and where does Scupula go? Well, I guess there's nowhere else for Scupula to go. They're probably going to go get that hookshot pretty quickly. Alright, and Dr. Earworm finding out that both of the dungeons, both Turtle Rock and Maya, requiring Quake, which they've had since the beginning of the game.
Dr. Earworm getting his bunch of no good stuff in Super Bunny Cave. Is going to go out. I'd be curious if he's going to try to go to Spike Cave, which I believe he is heading towards.
Good use of the Burna there.
Oh, that's right. He can make the first check in a Castle Tower, which we've already seen. I believe it was just a piece of heart here. Or something very minor.
Well, I think pretty soon we're going to see maybe an ability to do a couple of dungeons. But first, gotta find some progression. So this is kind of interesting. With what Scupula is doing, are they trying to save that fourth key? If they are, the lamp, or not the lamp, the mirror is going to be one of the last things that they find.
I think for Scupula, with the fact that he's basically last locationing progression. I think, at least I would imagine, that he might just end up opening the front door. But we'll see what he ends up doing here.
Well, he's riding back south, so never mind. He'll be getting that mirror pretty shortly. And realizing that they kind of made a mistake checking this over the chest on the right first, unfortunately.
Oh, this is interesting. This is something that Dr. Earworm did not do. $50 for Scupula's effort there. In there. So it'd be very interesting to see, because Dr. Earworm did not burn a small key to check the Vanilla Big Key location. Be interesting to see how Scupula routes this. Yeah, looks like he's going to go for another Mimic Clip here. Dr. Earworm has gotten his information that Hookshot is on Bumper Ledge, but also knows that he has to get into the Light World in order to be able to access that and then mirror into there.
Okay, back on track for Dr. Earworm and close to being back on track for Scupula, but pulling off the other Mimic Clip. So, not doing it with a potion glitch this time, but just trying to clip the Mimic far enough into the wall to pretty much make it moonwalk off the screen and making the game think that they're dead.
Yeah, this to me is one of the more complex tricks. The runners that have the ability to do this bufferless, shout out to them. They're very good at it. I end up having to take the coward's approach and end up using menu buffering in order for me to get to it. Scupula taking a death and just saying, you know what, I'm just going to open up the front door, I believe.
Good for them. It'll get them their mirror much faster. So this means that both Scupula and Dr. Earworm do need one extra small key to complete the dungeon, but that's okay.
And when Dr. Earworm ends up getting, actually, Dr. Earworm's going to make a lumberjack check here. We're going to see if there's anything fun here that is locked behind Aga 1.
I bet it's a small key. Or that. Just the single arrow of destiny. I don't think anyone will be getting that.
Having a small key on lumberjack in a key sanity mode is one of the bigger slaps in the face that I could possibly have, because it's like, is it really going to be necessary?
Is it a swamp small?
Yeah, is it the swamp small? The worst case scenario is always, is it a swamp small, because there's only one available and it's hard required, especially if you have to complete the dungeon. It's worse yet when sometimes it might be the Hera basement, it might be Thieves Town, could be the Desert Palace one where it's like, well, but you don't know until you pick it up, and then when you find out that it's a useless Misery Mire one, then you feel bad that you did Aga in the first place.
It is, and oftentimes it'll probably be one of the people's last checks as well, because you're like, well, if it's a small key to pot, I'm in good shape in most cases, but oh gosh, if you're short a lot of small keys and you see that, you're like, oh, that could be bad.
Yeah, you ain't kidding. As Dr. Earworm is heading up to the mountain with that hook shot, we're going to have a litany of checks that are going to be available to us. Far too many for me to count. It's going to be quite a bit, so I kind of expect there to be progression here.
Something. I mean, a bow won't directly do anything. So there's got to be a number of items likely that they're going to get, I would think.
All right, Lana, fun prediction between you and me. How many swords will be in the mountain area?
I'm going to say 0.
I won't lie, I was thinking the same thing.
Okay, just to make it different, I'll say 1. Oh gosh, mitts. Well, mitts are just about the most useless thing in a inverted. It only unlocks 1 check with the boots.
Yeah, the myths are always a, hey, it's nice to have, but you don't necessarily need it. Hey, look, we got a big key to Tower of Hera. Finally, another big key. And pretty much the rest is junk there. Still no swords, I'm still looking good.
Okay, but good news, bad news. Good news is they've got a Tower of Hera small key. Bad news is they don't have a fire source.
I'm still going off the theory that the seed was nice enough to give him a starting flute that they're going to say, fire source swords, you don't need them anytime soon.
And Scupula quickly remembering that you kind of need to be in the light world to mirror to the dark world to get the blacksmith in inverted. Unless you got the mitts, like Dr. Earworm does.
We're going to get our first look into Tower of Hera here. We do know that this is a crystal. And there we have a small key. Small key is to Ganon's Tower.
Well, that is our second, so that pretty much makes it very easy to, or more convenient, I should say, to navigate. And we're getting a Hera pot glitch from Dr. Earworm. Pulling it off beautifully.
Yes, that was well done by Dr. Earworm. Very nice and efficient. I think Dr. Earworm is going to go back up here to hit the switch to be able to move the pit to be able to get to the vanilla big key chest, electing not to do the bomb jump, which without a sword is kind of a little tricky. And we get ourselves another big key to Eastern Palace.
Look, one more check! Eastern Big in their case is basically a fetch quest. Do ya? Don't ya?
Yeah, I hear you there. As we're going to get our first look into Moldorm, see how trolly it is today. Swordless, so we're just going to be using the hammer here. 3 successful hammer hits onto the tail will take him down as we get the first one.
Scupula picking up their hookshot.
And down goes Moldorm. That was very nicely done by Dr. Earworm. And for his efforts, we get another small key for Palace of Darkness. So that's number 5 for Dr. Earworm.
Well, now that'll make it fully clearable with, a bow. They'll be able to get their $50 off of the big key chest. But once they do go into pod, it'll be a quick clear. They've already checked right side, so they just go up the middle, check the big key chest, mirror, and beat the dungeon. But again, kind of need that bow. So Scupula following in hot pursuit of Dr. Earworm, just a couple minutes behind.
Dr. Earworm needing to remember that he just has to make a quick mirror here so he can get to Laser Bridge. Now this is the fun part of TR in Inverted. We're going to be able to get a look here into Laser Bridge, and with the Cane of Samaria, even though it's actually out of logic, he does have the ability to make another check if he so chooses.
Oh! Oh, there you go.
That's a nice find right there. Doctor, you have 2 invincibilities. Feel free to use them.
There you go. Oh, there's the light source. Let's go back to Hera, shall we?
Guess what? The next check that I said was out of logic because our runners didn't have a lamp. Well, guess what? It is in logic.
Well, not gonna find a lamp on Laser Bridge in most seeds. Okay, so you got boots, you got mitts, so you can logically check King's Tomb. And in Inverted, the mitts is the only way to do that check.
We get ourselves just a map to Misery Mire. As Dr. Earworm is going to mirror back into the light world. Yeah, this is the one part of Inverted that could be a little tedious if you want to make all the checks possible. you basically end up having to go to Paradox Cave multiple times in order to be able to hit all the item locations that we have here, because we have the Turtle Rock West and East entrances, the laser bridge in the back, Spiral Cave, and also too with inverted. This check right here, Mimic Cave, the only way to be able to get to it is through that little drop down. So Dr. Earworm's going to make a quick check here.
And also kind of forgetting they had boots through a couple of those rooms. There they are.
And when you get boots this late into the seed, you sometimes may forget. As Dr. Earworm's going to mirror here, so yep, he's going to mirror here into the Turtle Rock East entrance here. Take a look at the big chest, just for another map for Eastern Palace.
Well, those are 2 more dungeons we now have knowledge of, whether they're a pendant or crystal. And Scupula clearing out Mini Moldorm, or not Mini Moldorm, pardon me, a Paradox Cave, getting their Hera Big Key. It's basically Mini Moldorm Cave. Part 2.
That is true. That is very true.
I like the bunny sprite with the Bomberman. I just don't know what the connection is. Usually with a bunny sprite and a regular sprite, you'll get, I don't know, some sort of connection between 2 things. I don't get what the Chrono Trigger and the Bomberman connection is.
I won't lie, I don't either, but all I can tell you is the look of the sprite is fantastic. I like it. Interesting to note with our current equipment set, even though Dr. Earworm does have all 3 medallions and a hammer, it's kind of very difficult to defeat that Pokey in order to get the small key. So he ended up using his 1 small key to be able to get the lava chest. And unfortunately, nothing much there.
And so far, we do have no swords. Dr. Earworm contemplating, sorry.
Yeah, no, interesting to note, because he wasn't able to, he elected not to go after that Pokey for the small key. He couldn't advance any further from there, couldn't go past the chain chomps. There was 1 more check that would be available to him in the main area of the entrance of Turtle Rock, but unfortunately could not do so. Chat pointing out the connection between Super Bomberman and Chrono Trigger. They're both really good SNES games, and I actually 100% agree. I
Can't disagree with that logic.
That is definitely the connection. I like it.
Ooh, good fight from Scupula with that Pokey. Those are extremely dangerous. Oh lordy. So many small keys!
Interesting to note that there was a Desert Palace small key that was there, which is good when our runners do eventually head to Desert Palace. It'll be very good to have that, just to be able to knock out those checks if they are not in go mode at that time. And as Scupula does have that extra small key, he's going to be able to make this 1 last check here, see if there's anything good.
Hera basement. Oh, goodness gracious. But super hard to route in later, so you're checking it now or never.
Yep, and with that newly acquired fire source, the lamp on Laser Bridge, now is about as best of a time as ever.
Scupula taking advantage of a heart stun prize. And getting rewarded with a big small key to Ice Palace. Well,
Interesting. That's a very interesting big key. Technically, it is required, but not necessary depending on how you route Ice Palace. Seeing as we have both the Cane of Samaria and a hook shot, we can circumnavigate the need for the big key with a couple little, I wouldn't even call them glitches, but navigational choices.
$300 in Hera Basement. But they also have a small key to Ice Palace, so whenever that becomes logical, it'll be pretty easy to navigate it for sure.
Absolutely. And worth pointing out, still no swords.
Yeah, these runners are having a little bit of an issue with that. They've still got 2 swords to find.
Could this possibly be the dream of a sword on pedestal? 2 swords, or yeah, a sword on pedestal, a sword in GT, and both other swords on tablets? That would be interesting.
Scupula, you want to pick up that small key, my friend? Accidentally mirrors in front of that small key beneath.
Yeah, he tried boomerang it, but the only way that works is if it's vanilla. In Key Sanity, if it is not the vanilla small key, using a boomerang to pick it up does not work.
Game says you're not getting away that easily. If you want this key, you must pick it up. Well, we don't know the dungeons of Pod or Eastern, so we know we need a book. But, goodness gracious, a couple of swords, a book, fire rod.
Yeah, we need at least that. As Dr. Earworm is heading to the library, I believe this was a small key, possibly swamp. Would we be that fortunate enough to have a swamp small key here? The answer is yes.
Oh, the predictions when they come true, always nice. And that unlocks the entirety of Swamp Palace. No big key, but at this point, I think you gotta risk it.
Yeah, absolutely. Our runners are probably getting to the point where they want to be able to start completing dungeons, and even though we still don't have a sword, we do have the ability to defeat Swamp Palace. It might be a little slow, but I think our runners will get through.
And Scoopula picking up their other pod small, probably being pretty thankful that they don't have to worry about orphaning any checks there. Ah, yes, one of the hardest bosses in the entire game, the menu boss.
Yeah, but keep in mind, the new thing going on now is the fact that there's always a sword in Swamp Palace, so there might very well be one in there. And the way this seed is going, I would not be surprised if there's 2.
And we get a hammer pegs check. Survey says nothing.
Having the check at the library to be able to get that swamp small key has made this actually very convenient for Dr. Earworm to be able to finish out the smith check here. So I was able to get this, gonna turn in the purple chest, and then head right into swamp after flooding out the dam.
Interesting, we have not had a map check though with those recent maps though. Well, at least we do have a first crystal with both runners being done with Hera.
Yeah, I know, it's just gotta be, I'd imagine that's gotta be just a little bit of a slow progression set as we get the magic powder from the purple chest.
Well, now Dr. Earworm can go get their red armor. Oh, cheap shot. Right through the wall.
Ouch. That stung.
Looks like Scupula is following in pretty quick footsteps of Dr. Earworm. Hopefully gonna find that laser bridge, get those boots, get that lamp. Okay, to Swamp Palace we go. Whether it's a pendant or crystal, we do not know, and I did not mean to rhyme. And got those boots! Go, Scupula, go! Get those items! And Dr.
Really
Earworm,
go fast.
yes indeed. Making our way through Swamp Palace. Big question though. Left side or go straight to the back?
In this case, I would be tempted to do left side, just get it done and over with. Especially if there is a sword. Also considering the fact that there are not many logical checks that our runners have, not many that Dr. Earworm has at this point. I would just get the left side done and over with now, and not worry about it later.
Very true. Not to mention that if you do go to the back and then go to left side, you do lose that ability to do diver down. So you do lose a little bit of time that way. But I guess Dr. Earworm is elected not to do diver down, or perhaps they don't know how to do it.
And we do have a question in chat. Swords needed for medallions. That is correct. Just one sword is needed to be able to use the medallion. So the moment that any of our runners have even just a fighter sword, they'll be able to use not only the medallions, but they would end up having to, they could use them to also gain access to the front of Turtle Rock and Misery Mire. It is, though, worth noting that in inverted, it is very possible to have. I know our runners have all the medallions, but it is very possible to have the medallion inside the specific dungeon in Turtle Rock, and going through the front door is not even a necessity in order to beat it. It does have a different set of logical rules. But in this case, when they do have it, if they want to go into there, they could.
Hey, Ed, did you see what Scupula just found on Bonk Rocks? They kind of found the big key to Misery Mire.
Well, how do you like that? How about a swordless Vitreous?
Yes, and awesome.
I did notice that Dr. Earworm on the left side did find the Thieves' Town Big Key, which is now a fully completable dungeon as well.
It is, and with that Cane of Samaria, even without a sword, Blind won't put up much of a fight. So easy choice to clear that if you'd like. Oh, yeah, I guess. Good point from chat, though. Kind of need that sword to go to Viddy.
That is true. That is true. And the swords are not being very kind today, to say the least.
I guess Thieves' Town's the next play, then.
At least our runners are finally able to have some sort of progression chain where they can start completing out some of these dungeons with the big keys that they're acquiring. Although I think they kind of wish that they'd have a sword, or wondered if the tournament key sanity happens to mistakenly be swordless that none of us happen to know about.
These curveballs, you never know. Oh, hi, Sword. In Swamp Palace, like you may have mentioned, always happens.
As predicted. Now the
Well,
question is, will there be a second?
oh my gosh, well, that'll be Meyer. Once they go to Bonk Rocks, we'll see. But with this current route, it looks like Scupula will be following in close pursuit to Swamp Palace, and we'll get that sword and be able to do Meyer as well. It'll be interesting to see how long it takes Dr. Earworm to go ahead and go to Bonk Rocks for that Meyer Big Key. Because they'll be able to go into Meyer and not beat it.
And Dr. Earworm is going to do the menu strats here. One of the biggest pains in the butt possible when it comes to fighting Argus, having to swap between hook shot and hammer to take down these puffs before we get to Argus himself.
But we love to see it. Menu strats, menu strats.
That's why I love the comms section of this. I enjoy watching it because sometimes doing this is not the funnest thing in the world.
Okay, we have the powder for Scupula. Are you going to Swamp? Answer, yes they are. So they're basically a dungeon separating into two runners, and Scupula does have that Meyer Big Key, so if there is progression either in the Meyer Big Chest or on Vitreous, this could get interesting. Oh, and
not playing nice.
Vitreous hitting that wall just right and turning around, confusing Dr. Earworm, getting it a hit.
Alright, show me a sword. Make there be two swords in Swamp. I was wrong.
Yeah, there is a third Turtle Rock Small, so once they get that Fire Rod, Turtle Rock is not going to be a problem to fully complete.
That is correct. Still just need the Fire Rod in order to take down Trinex. And to be able to get at least 2 more checks into Turtle Rock. But with the route that Dr. Earworm has, oh no, he's gonna flute. Might be fluting to 3.
And the question is, where is that Fire Rod? Could it be in first check Turtle Rock?
It is very possible. I've seen it there before many times, and the way this seed has gone, it would not surprise me today.
Okay, so we did see that Swamp Palace is a second crystal. We still don't have info on Thieves Town, so is this going to be the third? And also keep in mind, being Key Sanity, the music does not tell you what the dungeon is. This would normally be pendant dungeon music, but they intentionally randomize that too to make sure you don't know.
Yeah, and as we recall, the Thieves Town from information from Big Bomb, Thieves Town is a 5/6, so it is a red crystal.
That is right. I completely forgot about that. That it will be their third crystal.
Now, I think this is going to be very interesting to see what Dr. Earworm finds. If Dr. Earworm happens to find any progression in here, such as a bow or possibly even a fire rod, it may deter him from checking the booch checks, specifically Bonk Rocks, for that Misery Mire Big Key. If not, I would imagine if he does have it in mind, since he is nearby, he can do those booch checks real quick. But again, it still kind of depends what is found here, and if anything kind of sways him away from doing that.
And on a side note, Scupula demonstrating the diver down glitch, which was discovered a couple years ago, but it basically just allows you to dive down in the dungeon to make it kind of think that you are on a different level than you are, and you're able to, I guess, get keys that you're not supposed to be able to get otherwise. I don't know how to better explain it. Just, it's a nice little fun glitch that does save you some time.
Hey,
Oh.
look, we got a Master Sword, so now the swords are coming up.
Well, that's Master Sword Go mode at least.
But no, to complete your thought, as they mentioned earlier in chat, my answer to that, as far as we got ourselves a castle tower key,
And we have a lamp.
my answer to that, as far as being able to do the diver down, as far as how it technically works, the best way I can explain it is how they mention it in chat. It's because the game is coded properly. Simple.
True. There's no glitches here. They're all intentional and calculated. Left in by the original developers for us to find 25 to 30 years later.
As we get ourselves a fight from Blind here from Dr. Earworm, following script here. Basically, Blind is the one boss in this game that follows the same script, so if you're able to meet it, you're able to defeat it.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, that does not... Oh, no. That does not sound good. Uh-oh.
Well, we'll see what happens there. But meanwhile, Scoopula does pick up their first sword in Swamp Palace.
Yeah, I thought that was an issue on my end as far as noise was concerned. I heard all that clicking and I was like, uh-oh, am I being electrocuted here?
We'll hope it's something minor. They'll be back from it before too long.
Yeah, just taking a look on Dr. Earworm's stream. He's down on his end, so hopefully he's able to get any technical issue resolved. As Scoopula is finishing up here, Argus using Ice Rod strats and taking him down for his second crystal.
It'll be interesting. Do they go to Thieves Town or do they go to Meyer?
I think with the item set that Scoopula has, I'd be more prone to do Thieves Town first. Especially considering that even though he doesn't know it yet, there's a Master Sword there. Having to possibly doing Fighter Sword Vitreous with a hammer and no bow is no easy task.
True, and the extra incentive of having an activated flute to be able to go right to Thieves Town is a no-brainer.
Just a quick question in chat. When was the last save and quit for Dr. Earworm? I believe it's been a while. I believe that I don't believe he ended up saving and quitting from the mountain, and ended up fluting directly to 4 to get the small key from the library. So there's a lot of potential progression that would have been lost.
But it looks like Scupula is making their way nicely through Thieves Town. Not too far away from where we saw Dr. Earworm leave off there.
Yep, and I'm just taking some quick notes here. From what I've gathered, I know that we know the information on 5 crystals. We do know that Skull Woods is a pendant. So just trying to think off the top of my head as far as what we need for go mode. I know that we need a bow. We need a bow technically for the completion of GT. Let alone the fact that if we actually do need to be Eastern or Pod, because I don't believe we have information on that yet. We do need a Fire Rod. We definitely need the Book of Medora. And then as far as big keys are concerned, I think we just need the GT big key.
Looks like it. Finally finding all those keys. Okay, Scupula taken out, blind with minor issue, and finding the Shield of Evil.
The Shield of Evil is the Mirror Shield. Covers the sprite too much.
That's true.
I'll let the Fisher Price Shield slide for now.
Exactly. A good point from chat. That shield's fault. Just before that shield was dropping, that's when the game went wonky for Dr. Earworm. Blame the shield.
I couldn't agree more. And Scupula is actually going to go make the play towards Ice Palace with the swords that we finally have acquired. We can use bombos.
And we also know from the upper left-hand corner of Scupula's screen that Ice Palace is a crystal.
Good information to know. So, out of Eastern Palace, Palace of Darkness, and Mire, one of those is a crystal that I don't believe we know yet.
Well, they have the map, I want to say, for one of those dungeons, I think. We just haven't seen the map check.
I think Scupula is just going to keep us into suspense. I like it.
Well, now we can find out if Ganon's Tower is required or not.
One of the more useless maps in the game, unfortunately, the Ganon's Tower map.
And it looks like the Pen Gators are on the default, I should say vanilla drop table with those bombs. And right now you're seeing a glitch from Scupula called Ice Palace or Icebreaker, which basically just confuses the game and it shoves you through a wall. Samaria is required, but it helps you skip about half the dungeon.
Again, because the game is well coded. There's no flaws into this whatsoever.
All intentional.
Alright, I gotta say, I really enjoyed that beach strat of taking down the Stalfos Knight. That was pretty cool.
Agreed.
You know, I always like finding a compass and a map to a dungeon that you literally just completed. After you complete it, you find something like that. Be like, yeah, you know, thanks, appreciate it. Still useless.
Even more funny when you complete Thieves Town and one of your next checks is the Thieves Town small key.
Now that's just brutal. Hey,
Hey!
speaking of useless maps, there's the Hyrule Castle map.
Okay, Ice Palace is the dungeon of useless maps. And evil shields.
Well, the good news, at least for you, Lana, is with the information of the shield on Zora's Ledge, I don't believe Scupula is going to be getting that, so at least we don't have the mirror shield.
But unlike me, they're not going to flute to 7 and let their shield be eaten. And a red ring. Also not particularly useful.
I'm not a. That's the inferior boomerang in my opinion. I like the blue one better.
I just call it the lagger ring. All it does is just lag the game, and it does make things like, splash delete a little bit easier to pull off, but
Just an extra item added to your inventory that you have to navigate through.
Exactly. I'll take the blue ring though. Pretty nice. Makes GT more fun. Getting all those arrows for that bow that they've got somewhere in the game.
Yeah, somewhere in this game. To be determined. And without Fire Rod, just using Bombos Medallion ends up taking down Cold Stare's Ice Shield. And you're going to be using Master Sword strats here to finish the job.
All parts red mail, so you can put a little caution to the wind, but at the same time, these puffs hurt, so in the end, watch out.
Yep, and if all things don't go well, I know that Scupula has both the cape and the Cane of Berna, but he's doing a fantastic job here. 2 of the puffs are down, and there goes the 3rd. We get our 4th crystal here in Ice Palace, and Ice Palace did not provide much of anything, so it'll be interesting to see what Scupula decides to do. It seems like Mire is probably the most dense location at this point. We find out that Mire is a crystal, so that is actually all the information as far as crystals are concerned. So depending on the fact that Scupula attempted a mimic clip in Palace of Darkness shows the fact that he may not necessarily need that bow in order to get through the mimics in GT. But we shall see.
Very true. Mimic Clip is an interesting glitch. And you're right, there's those 2 methods to do it, non-buffering and buffering, and both can put a strain on your hands. But both are pretty darn doable, and frankly, if Eastern and Pod are pendants, which they are, then go for it. It could very well just be a book and a Fire Rod from Go Mode at this point, and a GT Big Key.
And with such few checks left, assuming that the GT Big Key is not here, Lana, what's your preference as far as trying to find that GT Big Key? Do you want to try to find, maximize as many overworld checks and even pendant dungeons before going to GT, or do you just believe that if you haven't found the GT Big Key yet, it's probably just there?
Well, there's enough checks left in the game that if I'm one of the runners, I'm probably checking any of the dungeons you're already in, clearing, but skipping the overworld until you fully clear GT.
To me, it's always funny how it works out that the GT Big Key is either something that comes up extremely early or very, very, very late in the game. And it's never a comfortable feeling having to wait that long in order to get that key. And again, there's always that hope that it could be on pedestal which means that the bow, the first logical bow, is somewhere. And there's 10 more arrows for the bow that currently does not exist.
Okay, and a quick update on Dr. Earworm. Looks like they are back up and running. They currently have Desert, Hera, Swamp, Thievestown, and Mire cleared. So they did find that Mire big key.
Yeah, and I apologize. You may have mentioned it. I do notice that Dr. Earworm does have a fire rod.
I did not notice that on the chat.
And
I do what?
the Book of Medora. So he could possibly be in a GT Big Key Go mode. And we're getting information from chat. The fire rod was in Misery Mire.
Oh, yeah. Scupula's got it marked on their tracker there on the restream.
Yeah, I apologize. I was looking over on Dr. Earworm's stream just to see what he had. And there's the Book of Medora.
Okay, we're caught up.
But yeah, just to follow up on chat, Dr. Earworm had a, I'm assuming maybe the internet or something, just minor technical difficulties. So it just happened to freeze on our end here. But he is back up and going. He was offline for a brief moment, but he is back up and going right now.
And they're hard at work trying to get it back up here, so they are working on it.
Oh, and yeah, the volunteers here in the speed gaming community, they are some of the greatest people here. As Scupula is going to be using Master Sword strats to take down these eyeballs from Vitreous.
Oh, that half magic makes this fight so much more agreeable given their gear. Oh gosh, taking that Viddy hug. And giving Viddy a bombos for a good measure. Take that, Viddy.
If only that would work, oh, that'd be the greatest thing.
Right, the secret strategy no one has tried. I think they were just trying to select their hammer and panicked with why.
It was also a nice little reset rather than just hitting the pause button, just get a nice little bombos animation just to reset to get ready for the fight.
True.
As Scupula gets his 5th crystal, and with him nearby in Desert Palace, I would not be surprised to see him fluting to 6 and completing that.
And quickly realizing it's inverted. Only one way in the desert, which, as we've said a couple times so far, is that front door in the desert with that book.
I gotta wonder, I'm just trying to think. Where would the first bow possibly be? I'm just trying to think. It could possibly be in the back of Skull Woods with that fire rod. It could be part of the big bomb with the 5-6 crystals once they complete Turtle Rock. But if no bow comes up, and even if the GT Big Key happens to show up, I'd be really interested to see if Scupula decides to go out of his way to try to find a bow. But then again, we all know that there's probably just a bow in GT anyways, so, you know, easy game at that point.
Very true.
And looks like we're getting back Dr. Earworm here on Restream. Happy to see him back.
Welcome back. And I believe with that Ice Palace Crystal, they are picking up their 6th.
That is correct. That would be 6, and Turtle Rock would be the last crystal, which, for me looking on his stream, is where he's heading to right now.
Looks like it. Oh look, a miscellaneous big key.
The dreaded Skullwoods big key. That is one big key I don't really like to see.
Well, that being said, Skullwoods is fully in logic. 2 small keys, the big key, and the fire rod. So have fun.
Actually, not to correct that, I believe the entirety of Skullwoods, especially when you get to Moth, is actually locked behind 3 small keys.
Oh, it's 3. Okay, I thought it had 2 small keys. Yeah, no worries.
Again, it's logic. Who follows logic nowadays?
Ooh, Dr. Earworm getting that bonk. Mirror bonk, as it's called.
Scupula efficiently getting through the back part of Desert Palace, as he's going to be taking on Lamolas here for his 6th crystal.
Yeah, following in hot pursuit of Dr. Earworm. Looks like Dr. Earworm's early routing was very good early, and Scupula's early routing is just paying off a little bit more later. Good.
Yeah, that was a great fight there by Scupula.
Yeah.
For a map of Swamp Palace that we know is a crystal.
Cool game, thanks.
I do like this play from Dr. Earworm before finishing off Trinex here. Just going to go ahead and do some of the cleanup. Oh no, actually just going to go right to there without using the laser bridge.
You've got to, I think, at this point. I mean, you've got all 4 small keys. Your access is pretty quick. Your only other alternative would be just to go to Laser Bridge, beat it, open the dungeon, go to the front, and clear it out from that way. So, I don't know.
And Scupula, knowing the fact that, again, Bombo's tablet normally would be mirror locked, you'd at least have to have the mirror and the Book of Medora to check. Here, there's yet another ladder to be able to get to, and just unfortunately getting 20 bucks for his efforts. Oh, this is interesting. I like the Scupula is actually going to make the 2nd check here in Aga Tower with that 1 Castle Tower key. This is in logic.
Well, you're already up there. What the heck? You know you're not going to have to beat the dungeon, so may as well get that 1 other check just in case.
And one of my lesser fun fights, Hammer Trinex, as Dr. Earworm was able to take down the Firehead very easily with the hammer, and then just using the Master Sword and taking down the Ice Head to knock Trinex down to a single neck.
Oh, the Swamp Palace big key. Ouch.
Speaking of big keys I don't like to see. Oh, that's definitely another one of those.
No kidding. If you know that Swamp is a crystal, you got that big key early, great. But if that's a late acquisition like it is when they've already full cleared Swamp otherwise, that is a hard find.
Speaking of a nice find, though, we got Temper Sword from Trinex, so that'll make defeating enemies a little bit easier, especially when it comes to the Ganon fight.
And with that, they They do get their seventh crystal. So quickly, chat, while we've got some time, feel free to try and guess where the GT Big Key is in the dungeon. Do you guess 1 through 22 for the actual dungeon, or do you perhaps choose 23 for somewhere else?
I'm choosing Skullwood's big chest.
I'm going for pedestal. I want to find a bow in GT. That's what I'm voting for. I know it's not going to happen, but that's just what I'm voting for. I'm gonna play speed gaming chat.
You know, to be honest, if I'm not mistaken, and chat can correct me if I'm wrong on this. The first logical bow technically could be in GT, and the with that to be able to defeat the other pendants, Eastern and Palace of Darkness, the GT Big Key definitely would be a possibility with it being on pedestal through that logic.
It could happen. Oh, crud. Oh, no, it's ice. Excellent.
Yep, that was the Ice Palace Big Key
right.
that Scoopula got earlier, but it's going to be another one of those checks that Dr. Earworm is going to be thinking, oh, that's the Big Key I wanted. Oh, no, it's the dungeon that I already completed. I like the Scoopula giving Trinex the business with the Fire Rod, just saying, you know what? I'm not going to even bother with the sword or hammer. I'm just going to Fire Rod this till you go down.
Okay, what is Dr. Earworm currently doing? Doing that, oh, ether check. Okay. I like it. You're up here. Why not?
Oh, that's, I believe, the 4th Ganon's Tower small key, so, that's all 4 of GT. As he's gonna realize, actually, he's probably gonna make the second check into Aga Tower here. Keep in mind that this is inverted, so the vanilla Aga Tower on top of Hyrule Castle is actually Ganon's Tower. And if only I could see Dr. Earworm's reaction when he picks up this big key, thinking, "Oh my God, it's the GT big key." No, it's gonna be
Womp, womp, womp.
Swamp Palace big key. I can only imagine what his reaction would be. Uh-oh. Almost. Almost.
Good point from chat. The bow could be anywhere, and we don't technically, like, I believe we know Scoopula likely knows how to mimic clip. I don't know about Dr. Earworm, though.
Yeah, at this point, there's a very high degree, a very high probability that there's going to be a bow in GT, at least I would think. Whether it's the first one or not 100% certain, as he's actually going to check Big Bomb, which is actually really smart play because he's going to be heading up there anyways. Might as well make this check while you're at it.
Meanwhile, Scoopula, I think, maybe going straight for GT. Or maybe taking the Big Bomb up as well. We'll see. Or doing Bomba's Tablet? Or Swamp Palace Big Chest?
Oh, I like this play. I like this play.
Going for the gamble. I can appreciate it. We've got 2 checks from Dr. Earworm coming up that we have not seen. We got $5 and a heart container. Not it.
Big Bomb, not our answer. So at this point, I think Dr. Earworm is going to have to take his chances in GT. Yeah, it's definitely interesting to see that both Eastern Palace and Pod are pendants. So that first logical bow could very well easily be in GT. We shall see. Our luck, it's probably just on the torch.
Probably. Statistically, it's probably in GT, but there's always hope.
One can dream, can't they?
One can, one does. And here we go. Official GT time for Dr. Earworm. And big chest from Scupula is 3 bombs. Just antioxidants. And checks 1 and 2 in GT are just $25 total.
Hope Room not providing much hope today.
They have an Eastern Palace big key chest they haven't checked. They've got a... Let's see, they checked Pod. They have a Skull Woods big chest they haven't checked.
We also have Skull Woods and the back of Skull Woods. Uh-oh, and looks like Dr. Earworm just got a little too much time taken out there, so he's got to relight these torches in order to go down to the compass room.
Fortunately, half magic, so okay but they're pretty much okay off right now. Okay, this could also be interesting because if Scupula elects to go straight left and Big Key is over there, this could be a very close race.
Yeah, this has turned out to be a very fun and exciting race. I've really enjoyed this so far. Oh, we got a shovel. Oh boy.
Another check. Oh.
As if the seed hasn't trolled us enough. The shovel is just another slap in the face.
Okay, left side time for Dr. Earworm. On the torch, we have a small key.
Oh, it's got to be Skull Woods. Got to be Skull Woods.
I would think so.
It is Skull Woods. All right, so now all of Skull Woods is in logic right now. Oh, how this is coming together for our dream GT Big Key on pedestal.
Well, so far we're up to what? 2, 6, 7. This is 8, 9, 10, 11 in GT. Heart container. Oh, there's our bow.
There's the bow. All right,
10.
Show us silvers right here while you're at it. Oh no.
Meyer. Okay, we just need a big key not to show up here, and we can keep our hopes alive. Not that I wish bad on these runners.
Yeah, have our runners experienced enough pain as it is?
We'll see if the seed agrees.
By the way, Scupula is making the tie room check right away, so he's going to get all of the right side done while he's at it.
Well, and if they keep going, they could have gone all the way to Ice Armos with no bow.
Oh,
Small key to ice.
House big key. Really nice. $20 in the Fire Snake room. As we get a check from Dr. Earworm as he's going to head over to Rando Room to see what other goods lie behind GT. $20. Butter Sword. A big key to Ganon's Tower. There it is.
Okay. What was that?
That, I believe, was, let's see. 2, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, maybe? I think.
I think 16 sounds right. Yeah, that is.
I was really hoping that Dr. Earworm would check the last check in Rando Room, just in case Silvers happen to be camping there too.
And it looks like we had guesses of both 17 and 15, so no direct winners today.
Close, but no cigar. Thank you for playing.
We appreciate it. For a consolation prize, feel free to create as many A Link to the Past seeds as you'd like on the ALTTPR website.
Also, as a consolation, don't forget to give these runners a follow if you haven't. They are providing this fun, high-level entertainment for your guys' amusement, and I must say, I am having a great time with you, Alana. This has been an absolute blast. I've been enjoying it here.
100% agreed with you there. And also a big thank you to Drossi for keeping the stream going. Big thank you as well to Akuhash and Lady Lauren Linda for keeping the tracking going, pushing all those buttons. Thank you so much.
Yeah, those are the unsung heroes. We have the pleasure of just talking about the seed, whereas they do all the heavy lifting. They make us look pretty good.
They do. Okay, Scupula quickly making their way towards that big key. Correctly leaving the right side and going straight to left, getting their bow, and soon to get their big key. Really, these runners are very close to each other. Even with all their early divergence, they are probably within about 3 minutes of each other.
Yeah, this still has the potential to be a very close race here as Dr. Earworm takes down Lamolus too, and is going to continue on to the GT climb as Scupula is going to be getting his GT big key. We're going to see if he checks the other chest here. Oh, it's just 20 bucks. And now he gets to make the climb.
So the only thing the runners are missing are silvers, but with what we have left, silvers could very well be on the climb too.
If nothing else, Ganon will still tell us if by the time our runners reach Ganon, if they have not found the silvers, if they don't make any more checks, Ganon will be nice enough to at least give us some sort of hint as to where they may possibly be.
True, I don't think we have any overworld checks between these two runners left, so it's got to be a dungeon of some kind, I believe. Not there, just a small heart.
The only other overworld check is just the shovel.
Oh, that is true, actually, which you got just before or in GT. Oh,
and if it's there, Ganon is playing some cruel and unusual jokes. Let me tell
I was about to say, holy moly, Ganon with the real strategies today. Oh, green pendant. Another point out from chat.
As Saha doesn't have it, he probably has a piece of heart. But it very well could be on green pendant. It'd be interesting. Question in chat, did pedestal get red from both of our runners? I did not recall seeing pedestal ever checked. Also considering too that Skull Woods was a pendant, there was no real urgency to go check it, and I don't think any of our runners made an effort to. As Dr. Earworm is doing Aga 2, I believe he might have gotten a triple there.
Now, especially with that book so late in the seed, no real reason to go back to that area. Oh, so close.
Very good point. Very good point there, too.
Oh, trolling. Poor Dr. Earworm. Getting that 6th hit, though, taking him down and going to fight the big pig. So that first one was just a double. So, yeah, as chat's saying, 21201.
Gotta love chat. Making our jobs even easier, too. I love it.
Forgetting to pick up those pots there, Scupula, forgetting that you kind of need to do that to light those torches. Okay, but with the Butter Sword, Dr. Earworm is finding Ganon. Should hopefully get him down pretty easily.
Yep, with Butter Sword, Red Mail, 15 hearts. 15 hearts available. Able to get a nice 1-1 here. Go right on to Phase 3.
And Scupula getting into bottle percent, finding that 4th bottle filled with red goo on the right side of Mini Helmet Room in GT.
Any way to fluff that collection rate, I like it.
Agreed.
As Dr. Earworm gets into Phase 4 for Ganon and find out that the arrows are in the light world, so They could be in the shovel. They could be green pendant turning. I don't know if it could be on pedestal. I forgot if that could be a hint if it says that. But yeah, it's interesting.
It depends on
Interesting silvers.
if the GT bow was the first logical bow, the second one could be on ped.
As Dr. Earworm's about, I believe, halfway done. It takes 12 spins without the silvers here to take down Ganon. As Scupula is finishing up Aga 2 here, doing getting a few hits there. Oh, just missed that one right there.
Ooh, same phase that gave Dr. Earworm trouble too. And takes down Aga 2. Good fight from Scupula. And down to the last couple hits for Dr. Earworm for Ganon.
And down goes the big pig.
All right,
Get
everybody
your GGs in chat.
Exactly. Get those GGs.
And it looks like he froze, but what I can report is he did hit the done in the racetime.gg with an official racetime.gg time of 2 hours and 6 minutes on the nose. Good for first place on Restream and third place overall. Hitman 1382 with a time of 154.16 came in first place, followed by Koi with a time of 202.39 as we get Dr. Earworm stream back up and going.
Okay. And looks like Scupula is in that Ganon fight, well on to the final phases of the fight. And joining us in chat is Dr. Earworm. GG to you.
Thank you so much. I thought I was terrified I would have to just upload my local recording and you'd just see a frozen screen for the rest of the race, but my internet decided to start working again, kind of.
Yeah, I thought I got electrocuted there for a minute. I had like this buzzing going on. I'm like, uh-oh, what happened here? And then I take a look at your stream. I'm like, oh no, bad things happen. But happy to see you get it up and running. I like it. So, what'd you think about the seed? I noted out the fact that swords were very late to get in the beginning, and the progression was pretty slow to start.
Yeah, shout outs to Homemade Beer. I was running a practice one of these last night, and he was giving me some tips on routing. And none of the tips he gave me really applied here because I just had to do all the garbage stuff because what else was there to do?
Okay, we'll take a quick break there to give a good GG out to Scupula for finishing off Ganon.
Yep, get your GGs in chat there. As Scupula is about ready to cross the bridge, and he is done with an official racetime.gg time of 2 hours, 8 minutes, 9 seconds. Good for second place on Restream and fourth place overall. GG's to him.
GG's.
Scoops.
Just separating the two runners by 2 minutes and 9 seconds.
But yeah, as far as the routing in inverted is concerned, especially with the early part, it's always tricky to find out where your progression is, as far as you want to be as efficient as possible to be able to get into the light world. And then when you go into the light world, not to say that you don't feel like ever saving and quitting or doing anything like that, but it's you have so many checks, and it's like, well, how can I best efficiently route this? It could be a slug. Also here joining us here is Scupula. Scupula, GG's to you.
Hey, thanks. Well,
GG Scoop.
thank you.
And now we got information. Pedestal had the second bow.
Oh, naturally.
So of course that one in GT was the first logical bow, which we kind of myself and Lana kind of figured that was going to be the case. So that was a nice bow location there.
I mean, I think, ready to mimic clip since I did it in that qualifier a little bit ago, but then again, I tried it in pod and failed pretty bad. So.
I very much was not, so I was very grateful to see that bow pop up.
Scoopula, I got to say this much. I really appreciate the fact that you did take the time to go check the Swamp Palace Big Chest just in case anything was camping there. I got to give you a shout out on that because I like that. I thought that was cool.
Yeah, that was why is nobody done yet kind of thing. That's all I could say. I was real tempted to start going like Hera Basement 2 and stuff, but I'm like,
Yeah, same. I was originally my plan was just to do Turtle Rock and Rush GT, and then I saw in the race room no one was done yet, and went, well, crap. I feel like Hitman would have put me in the dumpster already if it was just in GT. So, but I was ready to, I think I was going to go Skull first and then clean up the single items I left behind in Mire, Swamp, and Ice Palace.
yeah, I guess it also worked out too. Once I did it, and then I realized, oh yeah, I can just do the whole go to Swamp, go to Pyramid, and then there's GT right there too. So that's, I guess, how that went by the end of it.
Yeah, I mean it's basically as convenient as you can get because you have to go to the light world anyways, and even though it might be a minor time loss just to check the one chest in Swamp House, if it was anything, if it was the first logical bow, if it was the GT Big Key, the reward would have been immense. You wouldn't have to have gone as far deep into GT as possible, or if it was having the GT Big Key, Scoopula, as you said, you had the ability to possibly mimic clips, so you wouldn't even had to have gone to the basement. But basically, it's just one of those things where you want it to be as efficient as possible, and I like it because, trust me, the way that this seed was going on to the beginning, it was a little bit trolly in my opinion. The one big difference between you guys was the fact that Scoopula basically last located the Moon Pearl and spent probably a little too much extra time in Skull Woods, probably more than he probably wanted to. I know that there's a couple deaths where when Dr. Earworm made his way into Skull Woods, he got the Moon Pearl, and once he was done from there, he ended up going right to Hype Cave and was able to get both the hammer and the glove and had the Light World right there at his disposal. So I know that was a big difference as far as the early game stuff, but Scoopula, you ended up coming pretty close. It was a fun race to watch. I just, for your guys' sake, I just don't like the fact that the swords were pretty late because, well, it's not swordless,
I was starting to wonder. I was like, what
We're
are them?
about to see, where that first sword was, or did we? Oh no, we missed it already. But yeah, it was like an hour and 20 or something like that.
Yeah, that was the first sword that both of you guys found ended up being in the second diver down room in Swamp Palace, and then the second one was Maiden Chest in Thieves Town. Trinex had the third, and GT Stalfos room had Rando room had the butter.
So you got it too, Doctor, didn't you? Both are all four in.
Yeah, I did. Yeah.
Kind of hard to miss, I guess. But I forgot about Skullwoods, so that was a great start. Going to that flute, really, I was just like, oh, let's just fly everywhere. Let's just do that. But we're supposed to go to Skullwoods because it's inverted. Oops.
Yeah, and like I said, shout out to Homemade Beer because he really talked me through that opening route last night, and being able to apply that was really nice. Although it was starting to look like nothing was happening, and then I remembered Hype Cave was a thing, and then I was able to just go straight into the light world and start my loop.
Yeah, well, homemade beer should also just said, hey, listen, just go to where the items are and don't go to where they're not.
He's gonna be mad at me that I did Smith Chain, but you know what? He's not my dad, so.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think I'm looking at it. I got everything except Eastern Big Shovel, Ether Tab, Hera Basement, and Back Skulls.
Yeah, I think that's basically the shovels and GT. So checking that, was not going to be an option since Bo and the GT Big Key were there. But yeah, that's between you guys, you ultimately made all the same checks and the stuff that you ended up skipping. Like the ether tablet, I think was skipped by Scupula. I know Dr. Earworm checked that. Nobody went to the back of Skullwoods because the fire rod was so late, and at that point you were just basically almost ready and go mode. But yeah, no, you guys were, even though there's a little bit of divergence in the beginning, you guys came together in the end for a very close and entertaining race, which is all we could ever ask for. But yeah, it was a fun one. Probably a little aggravating. I know if I was running this, I'd probably be a little bit aggravated, especially with how late the swords were and like the progression chain. I know the one big thing too that helped out Scupula was he had information on the hookshot and bumper ledge.
I was about to say, yeah.
Dr. Earworm, I think that was basically your last location as far as to figure out where progression might have been.
Yeah, just about. I think I had I was gonna scout. Because I think I also had Smith chain access at that point, so my plan was to scout bumper ledge and then do the Smiths, and then I saw bumper ledge and went, dang it. Yeah,
I found it, but then, everybody but Dr. Earworm, you'll see if you watch back, you'll see I promptly decided to go in bumper cave the wrong way, and I, like five other inverted boo-boos like I'm good for, and yeah, so that was fun.
I had plenty of those myself. Yeah, this mode is weird.
I like it because it's different, but I don't do enough, or else I'd look like I know what I was doing by now, you'd think.
Oh, well, for not knowing what you're doing, I thought you did one hell of a job here in this seed. And GG's to both you, Dr. Earworm and Scupula. I do have one last question before, if Lana Bean wants to have anything. The only last question I got for you guys is, what'd you think about the flute start? I like that addition as far as this is concerned, to kind of make navigating a lot easier. I think it's a convenience thing when it comes to the inverted. Just curious if you guys are pro flute, con flute. I mean, obviously having the flute is good, but I'm assuming it kind of made things a little bit easier for you guys as far as routing everything is concerned.
Yeah, I'm a big fan. So the opening route that I was taught last night that I think I'll mostly stick with is, Stumpy into dig game if you get enough money for arrows, and then flute to Mire, flute to VOO, get bombs somewhere. If you don't have any bombs, you can farm them in Skullwoods like you would without the starting flute, and then Hype Cave. And it worked out really well this time.
Yeah, typically, I'll 50-50. I go to Stumpy first, like you said, or I'll go from Chapel to pull that tree to check bumper ledge. And at that point, there were bombs today, so that was nice. Maybe if not, I don't forget Skull Woods. But no, the flute I like it because there's a little bit about inverted. You have to pretty much farm 30 rupees at the beginning. Like you just kind of have to, or 50 if you pull that chess game, and then you need some more money anyway to go to whatever else, meaning you need 20 to start playing the arrow game. So I like having a little open to start with. Inverted games I've lost in the first 5 minutes, so that I like it. It's good.
Yeah, I could definitely attest to that. The inverted, especially how you route things and where progression items end up lying, can be you may not win the race, but you could definitely lose the race based on early game stuff. But having the flute kind of mitigates a lot of those things. Does put some other things that are normally not in logic that you'd have right away, like mainly the mountain. You'd have access right away to Super Bunny Cave, even if you had 3 hearts and a dream to try to get there with all those Lionels. But yeah, no, that was a fun race. So, Lana, anything you'd like to add? I apologize, I've been probably talking everybody's ear off here.
No worries. No, I think I'm good. You asked just about everything I would. Shout outs to your collection rates, though. Well done.
How'd we match up? I didn't get in here.
Pretty close. 191 to 183.
Yeah, there was a lot of checks. I mean, it's your typical key sanity type of run where you're going to be making a lot of checks and going into dungeons and hoping to not have to double dip dungeons, but sometimes it's inevitable. It just was really interesting ultimately that both Eastern and Pod were both pendants, and with the bow, the first logical bow actually being in GT, which then made both of those pendants in logic to then also be able to pull out Ped once you complete out Skull Woods if you're really that desperate to get silvers is pretty funny in my opinion.
I'll tell you what was funny is when I figured out about no bow before GT was when I was in Shrinex. I was like, oh yeah, that is Crystal 7, isn't it? That's how much I pay attention.
I have had bow go mode in every qualifier, all 5 qualifiers that I've done for the main tournament, and then again tonight. So, I guess technically I got to bow first, so it was GT big mode, but close enough, scary enough.
Yeah. That shovel was scary too. Like, okay, so this is the problem. This is why nobody's done it. Well, I wanted to leave. I was going to do the clown, but
Hey, all for fun. That's what I like there. So, but I don't know if you guys got any last thoughts about the seed. Any pros, cons? How much you love inverted? How much you hate inverted? How much Magic Bat still had nothing except it did have a mail upgrade. So I guess that was a nice thing.
Yeah, it was pretty well outfitted by the, for the last 10 minutes of the seed. So that was fun. But thank you both so much for comms and thanks to Drossi for monitoring and to our trackers and restreamers. Thanks to everybody for putting on the show.
Yep. Thank you as well, Lana, Lady Laura Linda for tracking, Drossi again, Miss Dad, you for sticking this one out. Long one for inverted, but it seems like keys or just regular inverted is, for whatever reason, seems to work out pretty even, at least the ones I've played.
Yeah, no, I'd like to second your guys' thoughts there. As far as Drossi overseeing this, all the speed gaming volunteers, Lady Laura Linda, Akuhish for tracking, all the speed gaming volunteers, the restreamers, both runners here, Dr. Earworm and Scupula. And again, if you guys haven't, please give these runners a follow. They provided a lot of entertainment here. Hopefully you're amused by the fact that they had no sword, that they almost lost progressions, some progression items. It was very fun on my end, but again, it was probably there's some probably aggravating points that you guys both experienced, which is hence why I give these guys a follow. They're both great people in the rando community and in life, and I'd like to thank them. And to my co-com, Lana Bean, I had an absolute blast with you. This was so much fun. I look forward to our times that we get to com together and do these races.
100% agree. It's been a blast. Thank you to both Dr. Earworm and Scupula, of course, for being nice enough to be restreamed for us. We appreciate you giving us the entertainment tonight. But otherwise, yeah, it was fantastic. I definitely look forward to doing this again soon.
Always fun. Just looking ahead for the speed gaming schedule, I know we got ourselves a couple Link to the Past races coming tomorrow. I believe on Speed Gaming 2. We have the daily race on Speed Gaming 2, I believe, the Light Speed. That should be interesting, 7 o'clock Eastern, followed by the 9:10 p.m. Yeah, 9:10 p.m. Eastern. There's the main tournament qualifier number 9 for the Link to the Past randomizer. So feel free to check those out and also take a look at the speed gaming schedule. There's more than just Link to the Past randomizer. There's a lot of games that the speed gaming does that a lot of people really enjoy watching. And if you haven't followed them, please feel free to follow all the speed gaming family networks. But yeah, we're gonna be looking forward to that. I might be running the qualifier. I'm not 100% certain. Lana, you guys, yeah, Dr. Scupula, Lana, you guys plan on running the qualifier tomorrow?
Hit me with that time again. Sorry.
9 o'clock Eastern tomorrow.
Yeah, I think I probably will. I gotta get some points. I'm not sure. I mean, that's kind of what I want to do this day because I'm thinking I'm not going to play this again the way I'm going in there. But we'll give it a shot.
Yeah, I've got my 5 and I'm right on the cusp, so I gotta sit back for a minute and see how it develops before I decide if I need to do the Hail Mary.
I am signed up for commentary tomorrow, so we'll see what ends up happening there. What a shock.
Me too. Hopefully I get to come with you, Lana.
Oh, absolutely. I'd be honored.
Awesome. Yeah, I got 4 in myself, so I got 1 more that I got to do. So we'll see how I feel as far as tomorrow is concerned. So I might be there. We shall see. But if not, just be sure to check out the race that's going to be restreamed on Speed Gaming Prime, 9:10 p.m. Eastern. There is a 10-minute delay, but scope that out. It should be fun. But that, Lana, I don't know if you got any last words, anything that you'd like to add on before we sign off here?
I'll just thank you to everybody, like you said. Reiterate thank you to everybody who helped with Restream tonight and tracking. Cocoms, it's been fantastic, everybody. Thank you as always.
Awesome. Well said. Yeah, Lana, it's been an absolute pleasure. Scoopula, Dr. Earworm, thank you again as always. And other than that, that is all that we have here for today. So I'd like to thank everybody that hung out and watched this Tournament Inverted Keys from Dr. Earworm and Scoopula. It was a very fun and entertaining race, and look forward to seeing more runs from them. Until then, I am Mr. Ed with Lana Bean signing off, and we will catch you guys again soon.
Night, everybody.
Thank you. Bye.